For 30 years, she's been a cultural force, an icon, Selena Quintanilla-Pérez. Her power, it just seems to grow even decades later. But the most intimate, unfiltered footage of her life has always been locked away.
A secret, really.
Exactly. A collection known only as The Vault. But now, the family has finally revealed what's inside.
Which, you have to admit, makes you feel a little bit of fatigue, like the story again, but at the same time, you can't help but be intensely curious. Why now?
Welcome to Starscope Report.
Join us as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals.
From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today, we are analyzing the massive public reaction and the very strategic choices behind Netflix's 2025 documentary, Selena y Los Dinos, A Family's Legacy.
They opened the vault, yes, but we're looking at why.
Okay, so let's start with the money, because that's always part of the story.
Oh, it's a huge part. So the film wins a major award at Sundance, which immediately sparks this bidding war. And it ends when Netflix acquires the rights for a reported $6 to $7 million.
$7 million. Wow.
Right. That price tag tells you this wasn't just a passion project. It was a calculated market correction.
A market correction. I like that. Because the media landscape around Selena's legacy is so, it's oversaturated.
Really?
And you have this central conflict where fans want to remember her, but they're so skeptical. They're always accusing the family of just, financial profiting.
Exactly. So the family needed to buy back everyone's attention to re-authenticate their version of the story. And that's $7 million. That was basically the proof that they had something new, something exclusive.
And that exclusive thing was The Vault.
The Vault. The director talked about seeing it for the first time. It wasn't some climate-controlled museum archive.
No, not at all. It was just a massive closet.
Just stacked floor to ceiling with DVDs, VHSs, and raw fill canisters.
It sounds like my parents' basement from the 90s.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably a bit more valuable. The fact that they paid $7 million for what was essentially a chaotic mess of personal tapes, it just shows you the power of her image.
And this wasn't glossy studio footage. This was, hundreds of hours of raw, shaky home video.
Almost all of it filmed by her sister, Suzette. Super personal.
And what they pulled from that, that's the real treasure, I guess.
That's what sold the project. We're talking never-before-seen stuff. Footage of Selena's very first recorded performance.
Oh, wow.
Candid moments from inside their first tour bus, the infamous Big Bertha.
See, that's the stuff that feels real, those raw home video moments. They finally humanize the symbol, they can maybe turn a myth back into a person.
But it raises the big question, why now? Why did the family finally agree to show this? And the answer is tied directly to a massive controversy from just a few years ago that they desperately needed to fix.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting strategically. This new documentary, the 2025 one, it feels like a direct point-by-point rebuttal to that disastrous 2020 Netflix series.
Oh, the one the family also produced.
The very same. Fans were furious with that show. They said it looked cheaply made, but the real problem was the story.
I remember this. The main complaint was that Selena was reduced to a side character in her own life story.
Exactly. And the anger really peaked over how they portrayed her husband, Chris Perez.
They claim the series did him dirty, right?
Completely. It made him look weak and whiny or just jealous. It really damaged the family's relationship with a huge part of the fan base who, adored their love story.
So this new film is a huge course correction, a strategic recalibration.
And Chris Perez's involvement is central to that. He's featured prominently, giving what sources call the most honest look yet at their secret relationship and their elopement.
They needed to prove the intimacy that the 2020 series just erased.
And to do that, they brought out a really personal artifact, a handwritten letter Selena gave to her husband.
See, that's smart. They're using the Vault's exclusive content to fix the record on Chris, which in turn gives them the credibility to make their most radical move yet.
The radical omission.
The complete and total omission of her tragedy.
Suzette is quoted saying, "The person who took her life and everything that has to do with her death is off the table."
It's a stunning choice.
Yeah.
Our sources confirmed. The name Yolanda Saldivar is not said even once in the entire film.
Not once.
The director frames it as a conscious cultural statement, rejecting the idea that Latino stories have to center on victimhood.
So instead, they're prioritizing, what was the quote, a Latina's joy and power.
Yeah. It's a really powerful reframing. And if you're finding these kinds of strategic Hollywood moves fascinating, by the way, make sure you are subscribed. We break down the context behind every headline.
But even with all this new footage, the big strategic choices, critics are still split. Was the vault actually revealing, or was the family just telling the same old story, but now with better B-roll? We'll get into the public's intense reaction right after this.
So the documentary lands, and the reception is a paradox. Intimate portrait or familiar path.
The critics were completely divided, which is always interesting.
On one hand, you have a 94% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. Huge praise. They called it raw and intimate and a vibrant argument for Selena's humanity.
But then you get the other side.
When you get the other side, Metascore gives it a 50 out of 100, with critics arguing it doesn't do much to add to Selena's legacy.
Because it follows the Quintanillas' well-worn path.
Exactly. And that well-worn path is the core of the critique, that the family's narrative always frames her as this talented, obedient daughter, propelled by her father's vision.
Right. Instead of exploring her own internal drive or her own conflicts, the argument is that the vault footage, all that new B-roll, it just ends up validating the same old story.
And that split trickled right down to the fans. You saw this polarized sea of reactions online.
Yeah, you really did. You had the exploitation camp basically saying they're just tired. Comments like, let her rest in peace.
And I'm so tired of Netflix using ghosts to make money.
Yeah. They see her legacy as something sacred, not something to be endlessly commercialized.
But then you have the legacy camp,
who mounted a really strong defense. They're saying the family is doing a great job at keeping her legacy alive. They wanted this.
They wanted the authenticity. One comment was, yes, give me the real Selena, her words from her mouth. No more movies and TV shows of people playing her.
Oh, what's really interesting is the cultural framing they used. One person pointed out it's literally in the Mexican culture to celebrate the lives of the departed.
Which reframes it as a cultural act, not just a commercial one. It's a fascinating defense.
So when you analyze it all, the film's real achievement isn't presenting a new story.
No, it's re-authenticating the old one, the $7 million vault. It's just primary source evidence to prove the family's original narrative.
It solidifies their complete control over her mythology. This is now the definitive, authorized portrait.
It's legacy brand management on an elite level. Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next in the world of celebrity news.
It really is. Which brings us to our final thought for you to chew on.
Think about the title of the documentary itself. It's not just Selena.
No, it's Selena y Los Dinos, A Family's Legacy.
That title subordinates the star Selena to the collective, to the family unit.
So what does it actually mean for a global icon's individual identity when their story is so completely controlled by their surviving family for 3 decades?
When their life story is defined not just by what people remember, but by exclusive, tightly curated home videos that no one else in the world has ever been allowed to see.
It changes everything, doesn't it? It makes you reinterpret every single detail we thought we knew about her life and her fame.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.